Hey guys, so it's lunchtime here and I'm really excited because I'm going to try out a new recipe, as in just randomly make something with what I have in the house, but I think it's going to be really good, which is why I'm really excited about it. So I was looking around in my kitchen just trying to find some ingredients to make a healthy lunch. I'm trying to keep all our meals different, interesting, tasty, healthy while we're at home. I know it's really easy to fall into routine, and when I was at work, I usually ate a lot of the same stuff, and it was fine because I had so much other things going on my day that I didn't really mind that so much. But now that I'm at home all day, like, I really look forward to my meals and I just want some variety. So like I said, I'm just trying to keep it different, keep it exciting, but also keep it healthy. So I was looking around my house, looking around the kitchen, seeing what ingredients that I have, and I have this giant container of quinoa, and we're not huge quinoa people, but I think that I can make this into something really tasty. It's kind of gloomy outside again today, so I'm thinking something warm, more like a home-cooked comfort food style quinoa dish. It's still healthy, but I'm thinking about making it a little more creamy, maybe adding some sort of tofu crumble for protein, and adding some sort of like maybe nutritional yeast for like a cheesy flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting some stuff together, get my quinoa ready and get my protein ready, and I'll take you along with me for the ride. Let's go. So the first thing that I want to do is get my tofu ready. So I've pre-crumbled it here, squeezed out most of the liquid, and then crumbled it up in this bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and add some spices and some extra flavors into this and mix it around. So the first thing that I'm going to add is a teaspoon of paprika. We might need to add more of these later, depending. We'll see. We'll adjust depending on flavor. We're gonna add a tablespoon of garlic powder. And then a teaspoon, let's do half a teaspoon of oregano, just dried. Okay, and then I have a teaspoon each of salt and pepper here. Spread those in. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this to incorporate all of the dried spices. So now that we have all the dry spices incorporated, I'm gonna go ahead and add in some other flavors. So the first thing that I wanna add is 3 teaspoons of tomato paste. I'm gonna go ahead and stick that in there. And then the other thing that I wanna add is some liquid smoke. This stuff is really flavorful, but there's also a lot of tofu here. I think I'm going to start with adding half a teaspoon, and then if I think it needs more later, I'll add some in. Make sure to immediately put your lid back on your liquid smoke. You do not want that spilling all over your kitchen. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix these elements in, and then taste and see what flavors I think I need to add more of. Okay, so I've incorporated all the flavors. I'm gonna go ahead and taste this and see if it's any good. Yeah, I like that. It's got a lot of depth. I think the liquid smoke did a lot for this. It's almost got like a beef jerky-esque flavor. I haven't had beef jerky in a long time, so maybe that's totally off. But I think it's pretty good. I think I want to add in maybe another teaspoon of tomato paste and then a dash more of the oregano. I think about another quarter teaspoon of the oregano should do. Okay, so I'm gonna mix this up and then move it onto a baking sheet and stick it in the oven.
Because of you.
Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is take my quinoa and rinse it. Very important. To get the best flavor and cook out of quinoa, you need to rinse it. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in a colander or a sieve and rinse it off with some water and then put it on the stove with some extra spices. All right, so quinoa in the pot. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add in 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And then I also have a tablespoon each in here of garlic powder, onion powder, and salt. Go ahead and add that in as well. And now that I've added those in, I'm gonna go ahead and add the water. Usually when I'm doing quinoa, I add twice the amount of water that there is dried quinoa. So there's a half a cup of quinoa in here. I'd normally add 1 cup of water. Because of all the extra spices that I added in, I'm gonna add in a little extra water. So somewhere between 1.25 cups and 1.5 cups probably. All right, so quinoa's on the stove. I'm gonna bring that to a boil and then let it cook for 20 minutes on a simmer. So the tofu crumble has been in the oven for about 15 minutes now. I'm going to take it out and check on it, maybe do a taste test, and then check also the texture. All right, so I'm just gonna try a little bit. Still smells really good. Well, the flavor's still good. Might add a little bit of salt, just sprinkle some on top of there. Definitely needs more time in the oven. I can tell that the top side is getting a little more crispy than the bottom side. So like I said, I think I'll come in with a spatula or some sort of spoon and stir it around, try to get the bottom sides up and give those a chance to get a little more crispy. So I will do that and stick it back in the oven probably for another 15 minutes. Okay. So our quinoa mixture finished cooking. I went ahead and added half a cup of coconut milk. And then our crumbles have come out of the oven. They're still chewy. They've got some great flavor. And then, sorry. I went ahead and chopped up some spinach, and I'm gonna go ahead and add that into the quinoa mixture, stir it in, let it wilt a little bit, and then I'll serve it into bowls and sprinkle the tofu crumble on top.
Last summer I saw you and I fell in love with you. I'm so happy now 'cause I'm gonna sing this song to you.
Okay guys, so I'm sitting here enjoying my lunch. It's pretty good. It's creamy, it's salty, and the crumble on top. It's really, really nice. Adds some great texture to it. It's very comforting. Definitely recommend. Oh, so The quinoa that I cooked ended up being, one, not enough for both Jason and I, and two, it didn't get as fluffy as it usually does. And so in order to combat that, I cooked another portion just of quinoa, just without any of the spices, and then took the first mixture that had all the flavoring in it and put that in with the quinoa that was just plain. Mix those together and then put in the coconut milk and the spinach, and then put the crumbles on top. And I think that made a big difference with the texture. So if you're gonna make this, I would definitely make a double portion, or it might have just been because the heat on my stove was too low and so it didn't cook properly. But yeah, ours definitely needed that second portion. But anyway, the flavor was really good. Highly recommend. Nice tasty lunch meal. Not too heavy and pretty healthy. So thanks for following along.
Last summer I saw you and I fell in love with you.